started. It is 12:01, and if you're just slowly strolling in, take time to get yourself comfortable. We're going to talk today in this parent info session about transition planning and the IEP. We like to start by saying that all are welcome here. Our trainings are conducted in what we call a safe zone. Essentially, that means feel free to share your thoughts, your opinions, ideas openly and without fear of negative feedback. We can never guarantee confidentiality. If your name is on the Zoom when you're popping things in the chat or whatever the case may be, others are going to see your name. But we do have a Q&A section if you want a little more of that confidentiality where those questions would come straight to us. And we will be answering questions most likely at the end of our time together. But if there are pressing questions that we feel should be answered in the moment, we will pause and take time to address that. So some housekeeping. Please feel free also to take care of your needs. We are all adults here. And while this is virtual and we can't see you guys at all, so feel free to stretch, walk around with your laptop or phone if needed, use the restroom, doodle, fidget, any of those things that you need to do to be comfortable. So I'm Robin, and I am the Include specialist who will be running through this parent session with you. Eleni is also listed there, and unfortunately, Eleni isn't a little under the weather today, but our contact information is there. If you had any follow-up questions or needed more information, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. But you can also go on our webpage and contact us through there if you are not able to write those down or anything in this moment. We are actually going to start our session together with Mentimeter, and Anthony is going to come on and walk you through that.
Hey everyone, thank you. So as you can see on the screen, we are going to ask you to just go on menti.com. You can either scan that QR code or just go to your web browser and type www.menti.com. And when you join, please use the access code to get into the room. And I think this slide is actually outdated. So let me post the actual access code for you guys. It's going to be 85188865. So I'll put that in the chat. We apologize for that. I think this slide didn't get updated here. So best bet, go to menti.com and then use code 85188865 to join. And we're going to just take some quick survey questions just to kind of get a feel for how comfortable everyone is with the transition process and IEPs. That way we can kind of tailor this presentation a little bit to your experience level and also get your insight in future trainings too. So we're going to actually visit Menti twice. So I'm going to jump over and look and see if anyone was able to join. And again, really appreciate it if you guys could just go onto menti.com and use access code 85188865 to join our session. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up that screen. So your menti.com, you're going to see we're just going to do some quick icebreaker questions here. We know Super Bowl was a big thing. And so we just want to get everyone to kind of get familiar with how to use this website. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward. This is a sliding scale. So we just want you guys to slide on where you feel, how you feel about some of these questions. Did you want the Eagles to win? Did you want the Chiefs to win? Strongly agree, strongly disagree. So move it either to the right or to the left. You can leave it in the middle if you're kind of neutral about things. And yeah, let's see how people are doing. Surprised we didn't have a lot of Eagles fans here. We are Pennsylvania guys. Come on, but that's okay. I guess it's important to support Taylor Swift's boyfriend, so that's okay too. And in the end, the Eagles won, so I'm happy either way. Just here for the music and ads. That halftime show was great, and just hope everyone had fun. Love that. Seems like everyone just wants everyone to have fun. Yes, go Eagles. Absolutely. I don't know if anyone saw the aftermath videos in Philly, but it warmed up my heart how much destruction we were able to cause in that city. You know, we earned it, right? It's just something you have to do. All right. So it seems like everyone was able to jump on and give their answers. I'm going to move to the next slide. So one other type of question we'll be sending you guys is word clouds. So here, you can just type in a quick response. What was your favorite Super Bowl commercial? And if you don't know, just leave it blank or just guess, I guess. But yeah, there are some good commercials there. Honestly, this year was kind of okay for me, but I liked a few of them. But yeah, feel free to let us know what were your favorite Super Bowl commercials. Yeah, Nike, awesome. And I don't know if you guys are fans of Schitt's Creek, that sitcom, but those actors made bank this season. They were in like every single Super Bowl commercial, so good for them. They were okay. Yeah. Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady. That was a funny one, yeah. You played The Sims? Oh, did you see that they just did a remaster? They released a remaster of Sims 1 and 2. That was my childhood too. Um, I love playing The Sims. So big fan to you guys. Jeremy Strong coffee bath. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to the real questions here. We just want to know, again, this is the sliding scale here. So left side means you're not confident, you're not familiar, and right side means you're really confident, you're really familiar. How do you feel about IEPs and transition? So the first one is, how do you feel about making sure your student's transition planning reflects the wishes of the student and members of the IEP team? Do you feel confident about that or not so confident? How are you with aligning IEP goals with the vision for the future using functional assessments? Are you familiar with that topic or not? And how do you feel about the range of transition-focused related services and supports? I know there's a lot of parents here, and maybe you're joining because your kids are getting to that 14 to 21 age range. So now you're trying to plan, be a little proactive and figure out what can I do for my kid and help them prepare for life after school. One really nice thing about that transition service is that and IEPs is that we can build that in to our students' plans, right? And so that's what we're really going to be covering is how does that change once you hit high school? What are some additional goals we can work in for our students and make sure they're really prepared for that future? Awesome. So it seems like most people might know a little bit about it, but not super confident. And that's great. That's the target audience here. This session, we're really trying to give you just that kind of introduction, that overview of IEPs and transition topics. So that way, when you do go back and meet with your school and your transition team and your IEP team, you have some ideas, right? You can start pitching, what can we do? How can we customize it to my child and their needs and really prepare them for the best life they can have once they've graduated. Okay, so we're going to end the Menti here. So don't we'll go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint. I'm going to switch it back to Robin, and then we'll revisit here and just kind of do some post surveys at the end of this session. So thank you guys.
Our next little slide here is going to be about our Padlet. This is another open, growing resource, I like to say, that we give out to individuals. They are going to drop the Padlet link in the chat, so you will have access to that. I encourage clicking it if you're on your laptop, so it kind of stays in your window in a browser. These are ever changing and ever growing. We do try to update them as new information comes out, as we learn of new resources. So they're just great to have. And I do believe that you can also find our Padlets on our website, but if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me on that. So today we're going to cover the definition and legal requirements, the individualization and collaboration, the assessment and goal settings, related services, and specially designed instruction, also called SDIs. I have also trained myself as I'm doing this today with you that every time I say specially designed instruction, I'm not going to say the word SDI too. Because I realize when I sit in IEP meetings, and I sit in quite a few of them, I so commonly hear the people running the meetings, the individuals that are in there with you, using the terms SDI, and they use it very openly and loosely, like you should maybe understand what that is. I'm going to try to repeat that as I'm going on, so maybe it does stick in your head a little bit if you're not familiar with SDIs. And that practical strategies and next steps. So what is transition planning? Let's talk about this transition planning and the IEP. It all sounds a little intimidating sometimes. This is an essential process that helps students with disabilities prepare for life after high school. That period where they're going from high school to that after high school life is intimidating for everyone. It's a lot. For our students, the struggles can just be a little bit higher. So we want to really have that preparation and be in place. Whether a student's goal is employment, higher education, or that independent living, transition planning ensures they have the skills, resources, and supports they would need to succeed after school. That transition planning is a required part of the IEP, and in Pennsylvania, that starts at age 14. Although a lot of schools do start that a little bit earlier, by having those conversations. I think it's the coolest thing that my daughter's school actually starts talking about transition planning in elementary school. But it's more so they can build off those skills, interests, and talents as they're helping form your lessons, especially when you're in that transition period from 14 to 18 or 21 or 22, depending on what your plan is for school. It is student-centered, meaning it should be based off of the student's strengths, interests, and needs. The goal is to create a coordinated set of activities that will help that student move from that post-school life, to post-school life successfully. We want to help them move successfully. Transition planning includes four main areas that must be addressed in the IEP. It's going to sound like I am listing about a dozen right now, but just know that the ands are what tie them together. And I will move my fingers so you know the 1 through 4, because as I was reading this, I was like, that's way more. So those four areas that must be addressed in the IEP are employment, post-secondary education and training. That is one. Second one would be independent living and community participation. A third one would be employment. And the fourth one would be support and resources. It really does sound like a lot, but it is only four. So what are the legal requirements? Well, transition planning is a crucial part of that student's IEP and should begin by age 14. And Pennsylvania 14 is where it needs to begin. That is the legal requirement. Though starting even earlier can be beneficial, that goal is to create a clear and personalized roadmap that helps students move successfully from school to adult life, which is a huge, huge jump. If you look back now at your school to adult life, I sometimes question how I made it to where I am now, because it is such a vast difference. To be effective, transition planning must be individualized. I'm going to say that a second time. Transition planning must be individualized, meaning it should reflect the student's strengths, interests, and needs. This includes planning for instruction, related services, work experiences, independent living skills, and community participation. No two students are the same, so their transition plan should always be unique to their goals. We aren't looking for those generic goals. We want to find out what goals we can place for our students that will help them with transition and being successful. Transition planning is also a collaborative process. It's not just up to the schools. Families, educators, and service providers all play key roles. When appropriate, outside agencies like Voc Rehabilitation should be invited to participate in the IEP meetings, with parental consent, of course, to ensure that students have the right supports when they leave high school. Another key part of that transition planning is conducting those age-appropriate assessments. These help identify a student's interests, skills, and areas where support is needed. The IEP must include measurable post-secondary goals in three areas: that education and training, employment, and independent living. Finally, the IEP should also outline transition services needed to achieve those goals. This may include job coaching, independent living training, college preparation services. By building that strong transition plan, we can give the student the tools and the support they need to reach their full potential after high school. And that's our goal, to really set them up for success. So, individualized and collaborative. A strong transition plan is built around the student's voice and vision for the future. When we prioritize that student input, we ensure that the transition process is meaningful and it prepares them for a life that reflects their goals, interests, and strengths. One of the most important aspects of this transition planning is presuming confidence and amplifying the student's voice. Every student has potential, and we need to recognize and support the ability to contribute to their own future. That's another sentence that I feel like I should repeat, is that we really need to recognize and support their ability to contribute to their own future. One way to do this is by helping the student develop a vision statement, a clear, big picture idea of what they would want their everyday life to look like after high school. Where do you see yourself? What to you sounds like your next step? Sometimes college isn't the next step people want. Sometimes people want to go right into the workforce. Sometimes you want to take a year off and then go to college. What is that next step? What is your vision? This can include those career aspirations, those educational plans, independent living goals, and that community involvement. However, not all students are comfortable in attending their IEP meetings. You're sitting at a table with a bunch of people that are talking about you. It's intimidating. But If the student does not attend, it is still essential that their preferences and interests are considered. We still want to know what their input is. Schools must take extra steps to gather that student input, whether through interviews, surveys, or informal conversations, so that the student's voice is reflected in their transition plan. This is their future that we're helping them to mold. So we want to make sure it's what they want. Beyond the student, family and team involvement is key. Parents, educators, and service providers all play a role in helping students reach their goals. Families offer valuable insight to that student's strengths and needs. They know them best. They're seeing them every day. They're seeing what their hobbies are after school. They're seeing if their hobbies are something they maybe want to find a job in. They're seeing where their interests are. Educators and specialists can help provide that guidance and resources to turn these goals into a reality. Additionally, there are outside agencies like Office of Vocational Rehab, commonly referred to as OVR, because we love to have all those fancy letters in the educational field, and also Office of Developmental Programs. That's commonly referred to as ODP. And again, I know when I sit in IEP meetings, I very rarely hear them say Office of Vocational Rehab. It's always OVR. So I want to make sure that you guys are clear on what those terms and programs and how they can kind of be referred to as their acronym rather than their actual words. These should be involved to connect students in with post-secondary supports. If community agencies will be providing transition services, they should be invited to the IEP meetings with that parental consent, of course, to ensure the coordination in those services. We want to work together, keeping the student's voice at the very center of the conversation, at the very center of the IEP meeting, of the table that you're all sitting around. We create a transition plan that truly prepares them for fulfilling their futures. Our goal is to build a plan that doesn't mean just legal requirements. There's a lot more than that. This is a student's life. But it gives each student a pathway to success in education, employment, independent living, whatever their goals are. We're working towards that success. While the legal requirements are the legal requirements, we want to make sure that we're also just working to pave that positive pathway. So assessments and goal settings. Transition services are designed to help students with disabilities move from school to life after graduation. This process is results oriented, meaning we focus on real outcomes like employment, education, independent living, whatever their goal is. To achieve this, two key steps are essential: assessments and goal setting. So we want to start with talking about age-appropriate assessments to understand the student's interests, abilities, and strengths. These assessments can include career inventories, vocational evaluations, and independent living skill checklists. For students exploring employment options, strategies like discovery and customized employment can help translate their skills into real job opportunities. If you are not familiar with discovery and customized employment, you are more than welcome to let us know in the chat, and we can talk about that at the end of our time together today to kind of break down what those two things are. But also Google probably could give you some basic answers if you just kind of want the gist of things. But we're more than welcome to talk, or more than willing to talk to you guys about what those things are. So the discovery and customized employment can help translate their skills into real job opportunities. All assessment results should be documented in the present levels of performance section of the IEP. There's so many sections on there, guys. Ensuring that every decision is based on the student's unique strengths and needs. Once we have this information, we move to setting measurable post-secondary goals. These goals must address these three areas. Education and training. This includes plans for college, vocational training, or certification programs. Employment, such as job exploration, internships, and work-based learning experiences that help students build skills for their workforce. And independent living, skills that are like using transportation, managing a household, participating in a community are essential for success. And they're skills that sometimes, we have to teach. We have to really break those down. I feel like I would not succeed living in the city and having to know the transportation schedules of buses and trains. Subways, I would be so lost. Somebody would have to teach me. At least one measurable annual goal must be included in the IEP. It can combine with multiple areas. The goal is to ensure that each student has a clear, actionable plan that guides them towards independence and success after high school. We want independence and success after high school. By using strong assessments and setting meaningful goals, We create a transition plan that truly prepares students for their future. Let's talk about those SDIs that I've mentioned a little bit earlier. Transition planning isn't just about setting those goals. It's about providing the right supports and services to help students achieve them. That's where related services and specially designed instruction, that SDI, come in. Transition services are a coordinated set of activities that help students move successfully into post-school life. These services can include instruction, like courses aligned with the student's career or educational goals, community experiences such as work-based learning, internships, job shadowing, daily living skills and training. This can include cooking, budgeting, self-care, and using transportation. Even skills like registering to vote can be part of the transition process, and that can be a little bit of an intimidating process. Functional vocational evaluation, which assesses a student's job readiness and identity potential career path. We're trying to see where the students want to go. In addition to these services, some students may need SDI, specially designed instruction, as part of their transition plan. That SDI, or specially designed instruction, ensures that instruction is adapted to meet the student's unique learning needs. Examples of specially designed instruction, SDIs, in a transition plan include job coaching to help students build workplace skills, mobility training that increases independence in transportation, communication supports, including assistive technology or social skills instruction. I feel social skills instruction is a very common one, and it's also one it's fun to work through. And teaching self-advocacy skills so students can express their needs and access accommodations at work or in college settings. Teaching students how to express what they need. By doing that, they're setting themselves up for success too. By combining transition services and specially designed instruction, SDIs, we can provide students with practical hands-on experiences that prepare them for the next stage of life. The goal is to ensure that when students leave high school, they have the skills, knowledge, and support to succeed in whatever path they choose. So what are some practical strategies and next steps? Transition planning is most effective when families and educators work together to create a strong, individualized plan for each student. So what are the best ways to support this process? First, it's important to start early and focus on strengths. Even though transition plan is required in Pennsylvania to begin at age 14, earlier discussions can give students more time to explore their interests and develop the skill into a need for the future. Chances are that if they have something they're interested in, they're probably already at home reading about it, watching TikToks on it, or whatever the case it may be. The next step we want to learn. Students learn best through world experiences. Encouraging job shadowing, volunteer work, independent living practice helps them build confidence and skills in real settings. And this can be done inside and outside of school. If we're able to get volunteer work, they can also go to on the weekends and gives them a little something more to do. That's also great. Whether it's wording a part-time job, using public transportation, or managing their own schedule, hands-on learning is key. We don't just want to hand them the textbook. We want to make sure that they're set up for success with these skills. Another crucial step is connecting with adult services before graduation. Programs like you'll hear it called Voc Rehab, and I just tried to do it. I'm trying to use the full words with you guys. Vocational rehabilitation, college disability services, and housing supports can provide resources that help students transition smoothly into adulthood. Families should start exploring these options early to ensure a seamless handoff after high school. Finally, families and educators should ask key questions in IEP meetings to ensure the plan is strong and effective. So we're going to give you some sample questions that are great to ask. Things like, how does the IEP reflect the student's transition goals? Is there documentation that the student has been invited to participate in planning for the future? Who is responsible for coordinating transition activities? Some schools do have transition coordinators, some schools do not, and it's kind of sometimes a little tricky to find out where those services lie within the district. And by starting early and providing those hands-on experiences, connecting with those resources, asking the right questions, families and educators can create a meaningful and successful transition plan that truly prepares students for that life after high school. So just some more resources, because we love to give out resources if you haven't caught on yet. Here's 5 valuable resources for parents in Pennsylvania who want more information for the transition planning process. So the first one is that PA Secondary Transition website. This platform offers a comprehensive collection of resources aimed at improving outcomes for students with disabilities. It covers topics such as employment, post-secondary education, and independent living, providing guidance for effective transition planning. Asserts transition resources. This provides a variety of resources tailored for individuals with autism, focusing on transition age services. The website includes information on social events, blogs by young adults on the spectrum, and community pages to share stories and art. Pennsylvania Secondary, I'm putting the word post, there's not even there. Pennsylvania Secondary Transition Roadmap by Patan or Patton. I keep hearing it pronounced both ways, and it seems to almost be a regional thing. So we're going to do both ways. Developed by the Pennsylvania Training and Technology Assistance Network, this roadmap offers guidance for educators and families on evidence-based practices in transition planning. It includes modules and activities designed to facilitate a young person's progress towards post-secondary goals. Another one is Transition to Adulthood Guide by Disability Rights Pennsylvania. This guide provides detailed information on effective transition planning in high school, emphasizing the importance of IEP in preparing young people with disabilities for adulthood. It discusses students' rights and offers strategies to maximize available resources during their high school years. And the very last one is PA Planning for the Future Transition Checklist by the Peel Center. This checklist is designed to assist students with supports from their families and professionals in navigating the transition process. It offers suggestions and guidance for students with disabilities in grades 7 through 12, hoping to ensure a smooth transition process to that post-secondary life. Whew, that was a lot of information, and I know it was a lot of information. We are actually going to hop back on to Menti, and I'm sure, Anthony, the code is probably also wrong on this slide. So is it the same code?